Joins me now from Hong Kong to talk about, there were really pretty extraordinary opening salvos there in Alaska. What did you make of it? Public jockeying or a bad sign?
The opening was pretty rough, but as you mentioned just then, the first session of the talks just wrapped, and a senior Biden administration officials is saying that these talks were substantive and they were direct. But in those opening remarks, it was a pretty rocky start with those opening remarks of this important two-day dialogue in Alaska, the first face-to-face meeting between the Biden administration and senior Chinese officials just descended into those scenes of heated confrontation that were all caught on camera. And this was expected because a tone of confrontation was already established in the run-up to this meeting. That tone was set when U.S. officials met with key allies in the region, Japan and South Korea, and used pretty hardline language, slamming China for its destabilizing actions in the region. The tone was already set when the Quad meeting took place last week with four nations, U.S., Australia, Japan, and India, meeting their leaders getting together. And these are four countries that have very fraught relations with China. And the tone was set when, of course, the U.S. State Department announced those sanctions against 24 Chinese officials for undermining democracy here in Hong Kong. So going into this meeting, we kind of knew it was going to be testy. Michael.
Yeah, I guess there's so many aspects to the relationship, and a lot of it is pretty strained. Is there any confidence there could be much in the way of a substantive agreement? There's so many hurdles, and some of them are pretty high. Or do you think this meeting is more about just looking each other in the eye and taking stock?
The hurdles are pretty high right now, and the expectations are rather low. Already it's been established that this is not a formal strategic dialogue. No deliverables are expected. No joint statement should be expected as well. Last week, we heard from the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, who said any potential follow-up meetings would really depend on tangible progress. And it's kind of early to make a call right now, but from what we saw in those opening remarks, both sides, U.S. and China, are doubling down right now. The U.S. saying that it is defending a rules-based order, China hitting back, saying don't meddle and don't infringe with our internal affairs. It's really hard to see these two sides coming together and pushing forward on issues, very important existential issues, outside the areas that they can obviously cooperate on, like climate change. Back to you.
Yeah, some pretty important ones. Yeah, Kristie Lu Stout in Hong Kong. Always good to get your thoughts. Appreciate it.